EU leaders are set to phase out dependency on Russian oil, gas and coal as soon as possible. Europe currently imports 40% of its gas and 30% of its oil from Russia. Well, Adi Imsirovic is a senior research fellow and author of Trading and Price Discovery for Crude Oils, Growth and Development of International Oil Markets. Thanks for coming on the programme. It's good to see you. Prime Minister Boris Johnson is going to Saudi Arabia to persuade them to fill those oil gaps and bring down energy bills. Is he going to succeed?
I don't think so, Juliet. I think it's quite kind of interesting because we're looking at this from the Western perspective. We see Biden flying his people in and out of Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, including UK. This is a global problem. The oil market is one great pool. So when there's a shortage of oil, at the end of the day, everyone suffers. And at the end of the day, which we can talk about a little bit later, maybe it's usually the the poorer places suffer. But of course, Europe will be hit immediately because of the situation. In terms of OPEC and Saudi Arabia, I think the attitude of OPEC's been rather disappointing because they can very, very quickly supply to the market 1 or 2 million barrels and help everyone. Not Europe, everyone. That includes India, China, and the developing world. And I think that the fact that OPEC is holding back the volumes, trying to support the market, is probably going to hurt them in the long run. But that's not the issue right now. The issue right now is that their attitude is a little bit like, invasion of Kuwait and sort of the West talking to Saddam Hussein about sort of cordial relationships, which is not quite ethically right either.
Well, that's OPEC you're talking about, but we're also hearing reports that Saudi Arabia may be accepting yuan instead of dollars for Chinese oil sales. I mean, could that mark another shift towards Asia?
Well, the shift towards Asia started probably about 10 years ago. The sort of center of gravity in terms of refining, demand growth has been all about Asia. So as far as Saudi Arabia is concerned, all they've been looking for was their share of the market versus Russia and the United States. So the whole of the oil market is about Asia, Juliet.
Fair enough, fair enough. But look, Russia's economic isolation is intensifying. Let's look at the long-term impact on Russia's energy market. I know they do other stuff too, but oil and gas is a big earner.
It's massive, Anna, Julia. It's half of the federal budget is oil and gas. Now, I think it's very, very important to mention that gas is probably a small part of it. Under normal circumstances, normal prices, let's say 2019, is probably 1/5 and 4/5 is oil. So oil is very, very important. And that goes a long way. That point you just mentioned goes a long way to explain the current situation between Europe and Russia, because they're like conjoined twins. If, Europe would quite gladly like to impose sanctions on imports of Russian oil, which UK and US have done. But if they do so, Russia could retaliate by imposing sanctions on gas. So for Russia, oil is far more important. For Europe, gas is far more important, and they don't dare do that. And so we're in this sort of interesting situation where neither party is doing much about it, and Europe is phasing out over a long period of time.
It's who's going to sneeze first. Adi Imsirovic, thank you very much.